All right, so it's day 7 of going through my guided journal. So the quote for today is, if you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. What is your interpretation of the quote? And if you were going to follow it, what's the first step you take? So if you're following along with this and journaling yourself, go ahead and pause the video and take about 10 or 15 minutes to respond. And I'll be back on here in a second with my response. Okay, so my response to interpreting the quote of, if you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. I said, I think the quote relates to the notion that for one extreme to exist, there must be the other, or to appreciate the good. You have to know or at least understand the bad. Like, without suffering, there's no happiness. And one thing that comes to mind whenever I was reading this was, I don't know the name of the movie, but I feel like there was a couple of movies back when I was younger that dealt with like kids who were from very wealthy families, like either the family lost all their money or they got lost or kidnapped or something like that, and they were so reliant on their money to get them through every situation. Like they had, they didn't have any struggles, and so they struggled, like their struggles were more than like other kids their age. The other kids that they would run into in the movie that were their age, like they were like, what are you talking about, this is not a big deal. And I feel like there was like a Hillary Duff movie like that. What? And I'm also feeling like there was maybe one with the Olsen twins, that had kind of like a similar premise. But I think like the premise of that is like, if you've only known like the good extreme, like things aren't even that bad. Like for you to understand, for you to be appreciative of the good that you're experiencing, like you have to go through the bad. Otherwise, you don't really understand how good you have it. Is kind of how I took the first part. And I don't think I really responded to that second part. But I go on to say, I don't know, to follow it. I think I had trouble answering this question. I said, if I were going to follow it, because it asked, if you're going to follow it, what's the first step you would take? I said, I guess that would mean to let go of your ego. And I have a question mark. I said, to let what I think of myself disappear. And then I said, the person I was conditioned by my family and society to be, let that person go so I can find out who I truly am and are meant to be. I feel like I'm already well on the path to doing that, through meditation and letting go of almost all of my past connections. I feel like I have a much better understanding of who I am. Looking back, I don't even recognize or feel connected to who I was before, which is very true. Like, if anyone knew me, like, I don't know, definitely 10, 15, 20 years ago, I don't feel like I'm the same person at all. Or at least if I act outwardly the same, my thinking is not the same at all. I said, I wonder if this is just a part of growing up. Like, does everyone go through this eventually? Or is it the result of my searching over the past few years? Because I have been spending some time, like, trying to figure things out. And I said, I don't feel like this was a very good answer. Maybe I'll have something better to say in the future. So yeah, I don't really have much to expand on with that. I feel like one way to answer the question, if you want to become full, let yourself become empty, that could be literal, kind of what I was talking about before, like maybe live with less, and then so you can appreciate when you have more, or I don't know, the part, you know, if you want to be reborn, you have to let yourself die. Maybe that's what I was saying when I was saying let go of the ego, let go of who I think I am or who I think I'm supposed to be, and just figure out, like, you know, what's my true path or whatever. Like, I don't know. But I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like a filmmaker, and it it seems like on his channel he has video clips from interviews with people. Like, he's just interviewed a ton of people, and he has all these video clips of people, and it was like real people. It wasn't like famous people or influential people. It was just regular people from these different time periods. I think he starts at like the 50s, and he has just these interviews with people. He's got a lot with like people coming back from Vietnam and just like people from all walks of life. And he was talking to this guy. I don't even know who it was. It was just something I was listening to in the background while I was cleaning yesterday. And he was basically talking about seems like the boomer generation maybe, and talking about how they were perceived by the older people, and how like wild and different they were, and how they wanted to search for their purpose in life. And he was talking about how a part of it was that there was like an affluence in society at that time that allowed them to do that had never really existed before. Like, in a sense, you know, during the 50s and 60s, and probably into part of the 70s maybe, but mostly probably the 60s, people just felt like, you know, most people were getting their basic needs met. And he said they felt like, you know, like even if like a job didn't work out for them, they could live off the land. You know, they felt like, you know, everything is so abundant, like we're going to survive either way, so we can go and explore these different things that might make us happy, instead of having to focus on career and job and everything. And, you know, that just kind of put things in perspective. Like, I really am very fortunate, to live in a time where it is possible for some people to do that. And because I know, like, even now, like, I think it's less possible for people to do that now than it was in the 60s, actually. And so, you know, I'm fortunate to live in a time where it is possible for someone who's not super rich to be able to seek out, you know, different paths in life, and not just have to worry about making ends meet and surviving. And then, you know, also that I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. Like, even though I don't have a super nice house or anything, like, I am fortunate to have a place to live, a place to own. And I don't know, you know, because that just made me think of, like, there's been times, and I don't know if I end up writing about it in here, but I know over the last couple of years, with me being so stressed with work and school, I was really unhappy. Like, I would even say depressed, at times. But I would feel, when I would go through those times, I would feel a lot of guilt for feeling that way, because my thoughts were like, I have so much. I have a roof over my head. I have a job. I have, you know, enough money to buy the things that I need to get by. Like, why am I so unhappy? Like, even though I have all of these things that most people would say is what you need to be happy. And it wasn't that I wanted more. Like, I definitely did not want more. If anything, I wanted less. Like, I felt kind of burdened by everything that I had, and but also just so guilty, because I know that like so many people would love to have like what I have. And I didn't understand why I was feeling so unhappy and so upset. So yeah, like, a part of me understands that, like, just the fact that I'm able to like contemplate all of this stuff, like, I'm very fortunate, and I do understand that. But sometimes, like, I don't understand why you still feel like unhappy even when you have things that should make you happy, and you understand that you have the things that should make you happy. Like, why sometimes are you still not happy? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but as of right now, I've been really happy, and I feel really fortunate, and um so yeah, I don't know. I just hope I keep feeling this way, and yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my response for today. Feel free to tell me what you thought about the question, and yeah, I will be back tomorrow with day 8.